How do you do? It is I, Lord Pembleton III, and today I want to talk to you about the new Uzumaki anime that has just released on Channel 4 in the UK and Adult Swim in the US. For the others, I'm not too sure about, but for the other countries, but for the most part, Episode 1 and Episode 2 have released on Channel 4. For those of you who don't know, Uzumaki is a Japanese manga created by my favorite graphic novel artist, Junji Ito. And basically, the story revolves around the fictional town of Kurozocho, where we look at, basically, we have our two main characters, which are Kiri Goshima and Shuichi Saito, and how they are basically in this town, and weird things starts happening. They're all corrupted by the Uzumaki, which is the spiral, where essentially everyone kind of becomes these like Lovecraftian corruptions happening to them. Maybe somebody turns into a snail because the snail shell is a spiral, or they get like weird hair because that curls up and grows out of their head and kind of drains their life essence and at the same time. So yeah, it's really it's a lovely demonstration of one, body horror, Lovecraftian horror, and trying its best to make the spiral shape seem like a thing of absolute terror and horror. Be careful of the spiral. Anyway, let's get on to the overview. For those of you who just want to know whether the show is worth watching or not, don't worry, I will not tease you any longer. The answer is an absolute astounding yes. The animation is beautiful. The pacing is going at breakneck speeds, and you really get to see a lot of the styles of the actual manga in the show. Sometimes they're a little bit underdone. Sometimes they're a little bit overdone, and I think the overdone part is where it shines the most. But overall, it's basically Uzumaki the manga as a show, just with a few differences here and there that I'll get onto later on. But if you just want to know whether it's worth watching, yes, there it is. So anyway, for the overview now, first thing I want to talk about is the pacing. The pacing of the show is extremely quick, extremely fast, so it's a great ADHD viewing. If you can only focus on for something for less than a minute, the show is basically built for you. It will suffice your attention very nicely. Again, this is one of the best ADHD viewings I can recommend. You typically get to see multiple stories happening all at the same time. So in the manga, you basically have certain storylines, and usually one storyline focuses on usually one thing at a time. But because I think they want to cram in as much story as possible in the amount of time that they're given, because I believe it's only going to be 4 episodes, even though 2 episodes are out. I believe 4 episodes are only in the works. And essentially, for the show to show as much as possible, I think they would just want to cram as much story in as possible, because the book is a little bit chunky, but there's only really a couple of stories in it that are really crucial, I would say, to understanding the whole storyline. So I think they're just gonna cut off a lot of the fat. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is that some storylines I seem to be omitted, but that could be just because they're putting it for one of the future releases, or let's say episode 3 or episode 4. I'm not sure, but in my opinion, my guess, it's probably that they are sort of cut off because they want to show as much of the storyline as possible for the show. So I would have liked to seen some stories, such as the Soichi's mom with her ear issue, the earworm, but it seems like those are cut off, and I think that's fine, but it's a little bit disappointing, because I personally really like some of those ones, but I can understand that it's not really that important to the storyline. But because the whole thing is an anthology series. I think they just picking out what they think is the best one. Though again, I would have liked to see more. Again, multiple stories all at once, and they're not done in tandem with how things progress as they do in the manga. Some stories are a bit shown early. Some storylines are a little bit shown a little bit later on, but typically are sort of enclosed in the chapters themselves, at least from episode 1 and episode 2. They're kind of in that sort of realm of where they are in the storyline, but sometimes again a bit early or a bit late, but they all run in tandem with each other, which I think actually helps out because it looks like it should be like in multiple days, but instead it's shown in one day, which I feel like is a little bit more believable. And again, because they're doing four episodes, it kind of encases it in that sort of narrow field. Anyway, for the next part I want to talk about is the animation, and this is where the whole show absolutely shines. Now, for the most part, it uses very much the art style of the manga, Junji Ito's art style, to be precise, and for the most part, it knocks it out of the park, absolutely. There are some times where it even kind of exaggerates the art style in the manga, which is where it absolutely shines. You know, anytime I see a manga try to do even more than its source material, I think that is absolutely fantastic. And also, you can get to see everything in motion, which some storylines such as where the two kids curl together into how they saw the snake is done absolutely phenomenally well. And I feel like the best example of this is actually after Suichi's father is cremated and you can see his ashes form a face in the sky. That is actually done a lot better than in the manga, and I feel like that's where the show absolutely shines. So, but not all episodes are like that. Sometimes some things are a little bit underdone, which is really the show's weak spots. You have these few scenes such as when Kiri is having the hair showdown, even though the hair is exaggerated. After she gets her hair cut down, the other girl goes into a pole, and her hair basically extends and grows to like a pole, and you can see that all the life is being sucked out of her. She's being drained of it, and in the manga you can slowly see her turn into like a skeleton face. So all the life is basically sucked off of her. But you don't really get to see that in the anime, which is a real shame. Yeah, so for instance, you only get to see like her go with like, with a sunken in face, which it's just that's definitely where the show's weak spots are. Sometimes again, you do get to see exaggerated, even more detailed scenes. Sometimes they're a bit underdone, and sometimes they're a bit cut off, which I don't really like too much. I want them to do a lot more. With the viewing. Again, again, I will say it is an absolute amazing anime to watch. It's absolutely lovely, but again, there are some parts of it that it doesn't get right, and some parts are cut off, which I don't like. But anyway, for the most part, it's great. I can't wait to see episode 3 and episode 4. If you are on the rocks about watching it, I would highly recommend watching it because it is still amazing. It's not done one for one as the manga. Certain scenes are cut off or changed from it, and some scenes are actually even added to it, which I absolutely really, really like. That again, anytime an anime can add and have it feel a little bit more special than the manga its source, I would absolutely love to see more scenes like that in the episode 3 and 4. So I believe that episode 3 will be coming out on the 13th of October, and episode 4 will be coming out on the 20th of October. Do some more of Junji Ito's work, okay? Make sure the show that it needs to be. Please do more. I beg of you. Anyway, besides that, thanks everyone for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I'll do more videos like this in the future. I've got other ones in the works. Anyway, if you hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next episode, my chapos. Ta-ta. Mwah.